Let's talk about a philosophy that can help you improve every facet of your life. Stoicism.
Stoicism is more than just a philosophy, it is a way of life. It is a philosophy that has helped the greatest of characters in history to deal with their tough times and make rational and logical decisions without any external influence.
The greatest example of this is a Roman emperor, also known as the Philosopher King.
Seriously? Glasses? Back then?
Yes, you're right. Where was I? Roman emperor, Philosopher King? Yes. Who was the single most powerful man in his part of the world at the time and had the luxury of having anything he desired. And yet he lived a life of such dedicated self-discipline. He was none other than Marcus Aurelius. Aurelius.
Here is what a famous historian said about Marcus Aurelius. Alone of the emperors, he gave proof of his learning not by mere words or knowledge of philosophical doctrines, but by his blameless character and temperate way of life.
Who said that? Anyway, after Zeno of Citium lost everything when he was shipwrecked in Athens, he did not let the despair of having lost everything get over him. There he got inspired by reading about Socrates and he found the Stoic school of philosophy. He taught people about his own philosophy, which came to be known as Stoicism. His teachings have inspired many generations of thinkers, leaders, and philosophers.
Since then, many great figures in history have practiced and written about this philosophy, which includes Seneca, a Roman statesman, Epictetus, a Greek philosopher, and Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor.
Stoicism has 4 major principles, and you can incorporate these principles in your life to achieve your goals rightfully. Let's have a look at them one by one.
The first principle is wisdom. Having such deep and clear knowledge of things that you can base your judgment on.
If you achieve that level of wisdom, which is essentially knowledge and ability of making correct judgment, it brings calmness in your thinking and you gain the skill of acting rationally, logically, and in an informed manner while going through complicated circumstances of your life, which inevitably involve emotions. Now, obviously, we are all humans and we are not able to completely disattach ourselves from emotions, but we have to make sure that emotions do not play a role in our day-to-day decisions. The second principle is temperance, the skill of voluntary self-restraint and moderation in all aspects of life.
As Epictetus said, curb your desire, don't set your heart on so many things and you will get what you need.
The ability of saying no to your extreme desires when they are screaming loudly in your mind, be it intangible desires like masturbating or watching YouTube, or tangible desires like materialistic needs.
We all have some long-term goals and central purpose of our lives, and we set our paths to achieve them. The only hurdles on that path are these momentary desires, these distractions. They have enough power to distract you from your long-term goal. We need to be able to control and tame those demons. Momentary desires waste our time, or some other resources maybe mess up your long-term goals, and if none of these, at the very least, it makes you mentally weak.
If you are able to tame your desires, then you will be able to focus on the present task and do it as best as you can, and consequently your future will be as best as it can be. We see an example of temperance from late legendary athlete Milkha Singh in the movie Bhag Milkha Bhag, when right before his Olympics he had the choice of fulfilling one of the strongest and most natural desires of most human beings. What did he do? He very respectfully walked away.
The third principle is courage. Not just in extraordinary circumstances, but in facing daily challenges with clarity and integrity.
Life would inevitably be challenging if you have a long-term goal. But you don't interact with that long-term goal on a daily basis. That's not the way to achieve it. How do you go about it then? Simple. By breaking them down into daily habits. These daily habits are what you interact with at this present moment, and these daily habits take you towards your goals slowly but surely. That's how you go about your goals. And did you think it would be easy to consistently follow these daily habits, waking up early in the morning, working out, reading books, doing your tasks and duties every day for years with the same discipline? As we said, it's challenging.
That's what courage is about. Facing and conquering these daily challenges. Fear of failure and actually failing. Fear of falling short and actually falling short. Uncertainty of success and failure. Pain and pleasure. Joy and grief. You have to go about all of them courageously. You just have to get into the process courageously and fearlessly without caring about the result. That is, to be indifferent between outcomes.
In the book Man's Search for Meaning, Dr. Viktor Frankl talks about his experiences in the concentration camp where for him a day lasted longer than a week. There was absolutely no physical freedom whatsoever. But what about spiritual freedom in regard to behavior and reaction to any given surroundings? Does that mean one cannot escape the influences of his surroundings? Does one have no choice in such a situation? To this, he says that the experiences of the camps show that even in such terrible conditions of psychic and physical stress, one can still choose how to feel and react. The independence of the mind.
Dr. Viktor Frankl says, "We who lived in the concentration camps can remember the men who walked through the huts, comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in numbers, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." The second principle, temperance, prevents us from doing things that produce negative outcomes in life, prevents us from slipping towards the negative side of the number line. What brings us to the positive side of the number line? The daily challenges we set for ourselves. How do we achieve these? With the aid of courage, fearlessly. As Epictetus said himself, 2 words should be committed to memory and obeyed: persist and resist.
I will hunt you down wherever you're hiding, and I will eliminate you. I am justice.
The fourth principle is justice. Seeking to help others or at least not hurt them in thought, speech, or action.
How is seeking to help others justice? The modern definition of justice involves giving good to good and bad to bad. That is, one who has done good shall get good, and the one who has done bad shall get bad. But in Stoic justice, it's a little bit of a different perspective. It's about whenever I make a decision or take action, I should be kind enough and benevolent enough to consider the well-being of everyone whom this decision affects, or at the very least, should not cause harm to them.
The point is, now that we exist, the best way to go about our development is to think as a civilization instead of an individual. Thinking not just for ourselves but for others as well. We shall use the virtues of wisdom, temperance, and courage for good of humanity and nature and contribute to the common good.
Batman showed a great example of Stoic justice in the movie The Dark Knight Rises, when towards the end, he takes the bomb in his flying machine.
Seriously, man? A flying machine is what you call it?
Well, doesn't it fly?
Well, I mean, yeah, it does, but... anyway, go ahead.
Whatever. In my book, anything that flies is a flying machine. And flies away. A suicide? For whom? For his people. For Gotham.
So these were the 4 principles of Stoicism. To conclude, being a Stoic can give you the practical wisdom to navigate complex situations in a logical and calm manner, the courage to face your daily challenges with clarity, temperance to restrain yourself from extreme mental, emotional, and physical desires, and a sense of justice to apply the virtues of wisdom, courage, and temperance not just for yourself but for others as well. That is, seeking to help others or at least not hurt them.
At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work. As a human being, what do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? The things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm?
So you were born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing them? Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants and spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? And you are not willing to do your job as a human being. Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands?